Rhodes Old Town is an absolutely amazing place to visit. But where do you begin? Where do you start? Well, in my beginner's guide, I'm going to give you all of the essentials to make the most of your visit. I'm Ian and welcome to my channel, Go Explore Greece. Okay, let's go and see what it is. Let's go and check out the town. That's it right there at the very northern tip of the island. One of the first things you can begin to see is that it's completely surrounded by walls. They're massive. They go up to about 40 feet high and almost the same in thickness. And you can actually walk around the top of some of them. And I've got a great video of me doing just that. I'll put a link in the description if you want to see it. And there's links to everything else I mentioned as well. So, when's the best time to go and see the town? It kind of depends on what's important to you. For instance, are you a sun worshipper? Do you prefer things busy or a bit quieter? And what about your budget? If you want the hottest, the driest, the busiest, with everything open, then July and August is definitely for you. It's hot, as I said, it's dry. You're looking at 28 degrees Celsius in the day and highs of 31 or more. Just be aware though, you're going to see a lot more tourists, including folks coming from the cruise ships that dock at the port, and the hotels are generally going to be the most expensive. Then you've got what I like to call the sweet spot, and that's April, May, and even into June, or the September and even into October. Absolutely ideal for wandering around. You've still got the weather. 16 in April all the way to around 27 in June. September, you're looking at 23 to 28, and even in October, 21 to 26. There's less people around, it's quieter, there's less queues, and hotels, they're going to be cheaper. Now, if you're on a really tight budget, or guess if you love the quiet, then consider November all the way through to March. It's obviously going to be cooler. Daytime, you're looking at 12 to 15, but it's also the rainiest time as well. So that's something to take note of. The big plus though is it's going to be much, much quieter and certainly much cheaper, but not everything will be open. Now, can you stay there in the old town? Yes, you can. And there's everything from budget to 5-star. Now, you're not going to find massive resort complexes like you do on the coast, but there's lots of smaller hotels and apartments, and some even with pools. And wherever you're going to stay, it's not going to be far to walk to everything. And talking of that, one thing you do need to plan though is walking to where you intend to stay, whether it's a hotel or apartment. And that's because taxis, cars, and even public transport, they can't get inside. They don't go inside the walls really. They'll drop you off and pick you up outside them at certain points. So, use something like Google Maps to figure out how long it's going to take you to walk when you get dropped off to where you're staying. If you're hiring a car, highly recommend you do so. There's plenty of parking areas dotted around outside the walls. So, what are the top things to do in the town? Well, I'll talk about shopping and eating in the next bit. So let's begin with what's free and then quickly move on to the best and most popular things to do we're inside those walls. Now, first off, here's a good one. Did you know that every single year throughout the whole of Greece, not just Rhodes Town, the whole of Greece, there's certain days, there's loads of them, where you can visit almost all of the top attractions for absolutely free. So in Rhodes Old Town, that includes ancient sites, museums, and perhaps the most popular thing, the Palace of the Grand Master. I'll talk about that later. But as I said, there's loads of dates. So again, I've stuck them in the description. Check them out. That way, if you're actually there during one or even more of those free days, and it's certainly a possibility, it's going to save you some pennies, some euros, isn't it? Now, another free thing to do is to take a walk up the very famous Street of the Knights. Now, for you Instagrammers out there, it's one of the most photographed places on the island. Quick tip though, it gets very, very busy very early. So get there very early. And just before you enter the street, just on the right is the Just on the right there is the tourism office. Go in there and get one of these. They're on the counter and they're completely free. Why? Because it gives you a great map of the entire town with loads of things on it, okay? And you won't have to worry about wandering off the beaten track and getting lost. And that guess ties in quite nicely with the last free thing, which is venture off the beaten path. Wander the labyrinth of alleyways throughout the town. You've got the map, so why not? The shops, well, they're often cheaper and you're more likely to get a great deal when you bargain nicely. There's also often better, cheaper places to eat where the locals go. And that's practically always a really good sign. And later I'll be giving you some more tips on how to choose a really great place to eat. Now, what are the most popular tickets and tours? Well, I guess probably the most popular thing to see, I've already mentioned it earlier, is the Palace of the Grand Master. It's a real life medieval castle built by knights hundreds of years ago. And it's massive, it's huge. It's got massive stone walls, towers, there's courtyards in there, and inside there's loads and loads of things to see. Next up, we've got the tours. And whether you're a fan of going it solo, small groups, large groups, or even private, you've got some fantastic, some amazing ones, including walking tours, food tours, evening and night with drinks and entertainment, and even ones on trikes and segways. All links to those, as they say, are in the description. So, who loves to shop? Who loves to eat? I certainly do. Let me just say that Rhodes Old Town is an absolute shoppers and foodies delight. It really is. And our first stop is Socrates Street. Make a note of the name, Socrates Street, because it's the bustling main street of the old town. It's lively, it's fun, there's a lot going on, and it's a great place to start your shopping adventure. It essentially begins at Hippocrates Square, another popular place, and is absolutely covered all the way up the street with shops selling everything from souvenirs, clothing, jewellery, food and drink, and so on. Now, from any point on the street, as you're walking up it, just veer off to the right into the side streets and you are going to be greeted with even more shops and loads of opportunities to haggle, loads more places to eat. Now, for things to bring back, I definitely recommend things made specifically on the island. One in particular includes pottery. And there's also Lindian mosaics. Got to check them out. Now, whilst made in the town, hence the name, made in Lindos, they are often sold in Rhodes Old Town. Very easy to notice, generally they're labelled. As for places to eat, you are absolutely spoilt for choice, you really are. And whether you stay round Hippocrates Square, quick note though, be careful though, sometimes they'll drag you in, that's something to watch out for, or you wander around the streets that I've said, get yourself lost in the many side streets, etc. There's food to suit every single taste. There really is. And when it comes to food, try something different. Don't just say, well, I've had my moussaka, so that's it. Try something local and even unique to the island. Two I recommend you do. First one is pitarudia. These are fritters made from chickpeas, tomatoes, onions, mint and spices, not hot spices, and they're lightly fried until golden and crispy. Or lakani, I love this. It's either goat or generally lamb, which is what I prefer, slow cooked with chickpeas, wheat, tomatoes, onions, and a bit of cumin. Now, for those with a sweet tooth, then takakia. These are small fried pastries filled with ground nuts, sesame seeds and spices, not hot spices, and then you drizzled with honey. Definitely recommend throw on some Greek yogurt on the side as well. And for drinks, then try the local wines. They're really becoming good over the last few years. Or either of my favourite two drinks. First one, Siphonia. It's a nice blend, a lovely blend of ouzo and coffee. So obviously great for ouzo drinkers like me. Or my absolute favourite, the Suma. And this is made from the leftover skins, pulp, seeds and stems after pressing grapes for wine. Goes up to about 60% proof. Actually, I remember being in Lindos last year, chatting with taverna owner, who gave me a few shots of his, shall we say, his homemade Suma, which he kept in one of those plastic small water bottles you often find. Kept it in the freezer. Let's just say it was a lot more than 60%. Anyway, if you want to bring back some traditional things to eat and drink, then look for something called melakuni. It's a rectangular sweet made from honey, sesame seeds and almonds. There's different types. There's ones which are quite hard, ones which are quite bendy, quite chewy. Those are my favourites there. Or how about the wines and spirits I just mentioned earlier? Bring back a bottle or two to remind you of your holiday. Now, let's get into a few more specific things that can really, really help you out. And that is the do's and the don'ts. And we're starting in the most glamorous of locations, I guess, the toilet. Why not? Seriously though, in Greece, and Rhodes Old Town is no exception, whether you're in a hotel or a public toilet, when you've finished your paperwork, do the polite thing and place it in the bin provided. It's generally next to the toilet anyway, and not down the toilet, because the plumbing can't cope with it. Next up, do be aware that if you stay in the old town, then as I mentioned earlier, cars, taxis and even public transport, they can't get inside the walls. They'll drop you off and pick you up at certain points just outside the walls. And then obviously you walk in. So as I said, use something like Google to figure out how long it's going to take you to walk to wherever it is you're staying once you get out. Do venture off the beaten path, as I said before, and go wander those little side streets. I really recommend you do. One of the best and indeed free things to do in Rhodes Old Town is simply, as I said, wandering its labyrinth of alleyways for those hidden gems, those bargains. The shops are cheaper and you're more likely to get a great deal when you bargain nicely. And there's also often better, cheaper prices as well to eat, which locals frequent. And that's practically always a really good sign. And this leads us really nicely into do's and don'ts on finding the great places to eat. First one, don't choose the first place you see. Before you even go in, check out the score, check out the reviews on Google. I highly recommend you do that. And as I've said, if locals are eating there, it's almost always a good sign. Don't choose one that they're trying to coax you into, or in some cases try and drag you into in a nice way. Mainly happens around Hippocrates Square and just at the beginning of Socrates Street. Do be aware though, isn't always easy, I must admit, if they have what's known as a separate tourist menu, because that menu there is going to have higher prices for the same food and drink. If there's menus on a stand, you've seen them, I think it's on like a lectern and you can go through them in your own time, then do that. Take your time to look at it and don't be distracted. And above all, follow your gut instinct. Now, once you're in there, a few tips. If a basket of bread arrives at the table and you haven't ordered it, then just ask if it's free. Often it generally is, but it's always best to check. And this definitely applies to bottled water, which is more likely going to be chargeable. Glasses of water, though, are almost always free, but this is going to be tap water. It should be okay to drink, but just be careful, particularly if you just arrived. Oh, and don't forget to check the bill, especially for items you've not asked for. And lastly, do wear comfortable shoes. Can't stress that enough. You're going to be doing loads of walking on loads of cobblestone streets, which can be absolutely uneven. So you men out there, leave those 6-inch heels at home. So there you have it, your essential guide to diving into the magic of Rhodes Old Town. I really do hope that this has given you the impetus, the confidence to go and explore every corner of this, and it really is an incredible medieval city. And if you found the video helpful, don't forget, subscribe and hit that notification bell, because there's always more Greek adventures coming on weekly. And until next time, and as always, go explore Greece.